Hello, I'm Sandi Rapoport. I'm a counsellor. You might also know me better as Shaya Chaskell's daughter. Just to let you know, Dad's doing fine. He's really doing well. He misses shul, he misses you, and I have very little doubt that your children miss the lollies that he provides every Shabbos. I felt really privileged when Esther Malka approached me to make this short video to give you some ideas, tips and techniques to help deal with the anxiety and stresses that you might be feeling and to perhaps understand them a little bit better. So it's a very strange existence that we're in at the moment. Who would have thought that before Purim everything was normal and then suddenly, like in a flash, there was a coronavirus causing us to go into lockdown. Several weeks down the track, we now find ourselves in what many people refer to as the new normal. Mostly, we've adjusted with many aspects of it. For example, I, for one, don't mind slowing down a lot, not rushing here and there to catch up with this person or that person or buy that thing that I thought I needed so desperately. So there are the good sides to it, no doubt. On the other hand, there are the parts of it that are really, really difficult to cope with. And probably one of the biggest ones for most of us is the social distancing from our loved ones, not being able to hug our parents or our children or our grandchildren. 1.5 meters distance across the nature strip or in the garden or over FaceTime or Zoom isn't quite the same as a lovely big hug, is it? People in isolation, people who live on their own, who are missing that contact, is causing a lot of grief for many people. And another big challenge that many of you will be facing is young parents who are at home working full-time and also now having to homeschool. I mean, what a challenge that is. How do we do all that without feeling like it's an impossible task and that we're doomed to fail? If we dwell on all these things that we miss or that we wish were different or that we wish weren't, that we didn't have, then that causes suffering and it makes us have feelings that we really don't want to experience. I can't, in the short time that I have, address all the concerns that you might be having, but I can share with you a few ideas that, if you use them, that will help you to cope with the tough times. As human beings, we have thousands of thoughts go through our head every day. Mostly we don't even notice them. Sometimes we need to notice them. Sometimes they're very important thoughts. For example, did I leave the stove on? But many of the thoughts that we have are unhelpful thoughts. And these unhelpful thoughts lead to feelings like anger, sadness, depression, fear, a lack of confidence. And then these difficult feelings cause behaviour that we don't want to have, like having an argument with someone we love or blaming someone for what's going wrong. For example, blaming the government for keeping us in lockdown when really all they're doing is trying to protect us. We become a bit irrational. It causes us to eat too much or drink too much or smoke too much. Does this pattern ring true for you? The unhelpful thoughts leading to the difficult feelings, leading to the behaviour that we don't want to have? If so, it's completely normal, but these things can be managed. The first thing to understand about your behaviour is to attempt to recognise what are the unhelpful thoughts that have led to it. An unhelpful thought might be, I'm sick of being cooped up in this house. Notice this kind of thought when it comes up for you. And here's the little tool, the little trick to do. When the thought comes up, be very aware of it. Put it on a cloud up in the sky and watch it float away. Let's practice doing that now. Just close your eyes for a second. Allow yourself to have a thought, an unhelpful one, and it might even be, oh, I wish this would end, it's really boring. Hopefully that's not the unhelpful thought. But if it is, put that on a cloud and watch it float away. And do it a few more times. It gets the thought outside of your head. It might come back, just put it on a cloud again and watch it float away, and it's a bonus if it goes away completely. Keep doing this until your unhelpful thoughts just don't hang around anymore. With difficult feelings, don't try and deny them or pretend that they aren't there. Allow yourself to feel them. In fact, name the feeling. For example, I'm feeling really sad right now. Notice where in your body you're feeling that feeling. Just allow it to be there for a minute. Don't try and fight it. Don't ignore it. Don't pretend it's not there, and it will go away. Next one. If you find yourself getting really anxious, this one's the simplest thing to do and the one that we always forget to do, to breathe. So just breathe. Let's try this now. So just close your eyes again. Breathe in for 3 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds. Breathe out for 3 seconds. Again, in for 3 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds. And breathe out for 3 seconds. And just do that a few times and you'll notice that it automatically calms you. And that's because you're focusing on your breathing instead of the other stuff that's going on in your head. Now here's another exercise that it's really good to make a practice of. I know for me that when I'm aware and present to things that I'm grateful for in my life, I'm not focusing on all the negative stuff. So the practice is to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Just 3. And I'm sure you can think of a lot more. And it really makes you present to the blessings in your life instead of focusing on what's tough. So when the going gets tough, when you're feeling a bit blue, think of the blessings. Think of what you're grateful for. And the final suggestion that I'm going to make, and if you're not already doing it, I strongly suggest that you do. Put on your trainers and go for a walk or a stroll or a jog. And when you're out there doing that, be aware of the colours that you see. How many shades of green are there? You'll be amazed when you stop or not stop, but keep walking, but notice the colours. Notice the sounds, the bird song, the sound of the rustle of the wind in the trees, the smells in the air. Just be aware, allow your senses to do the work for you. And again, this will get you out of your head. So hopefully these few suggestions that I've given to you will help you manage your unhelpful thoughts better and put you in a better space to cope with what we're going through at the moment, knowing that this too shall pass. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to make a cholent. It's very simple, very easy. So at home I usually use a crock pot to put it up. I prepare it during the day on Friday and I put it on low right before Shabbos. You can put it on raw right before Shabbos as long as there's meat in there. For sure we usually do it in a pot and then we fully cook it before Shabbos and then put it on a hot plate for Shabbos. So this is how I do it. First of all, I put it in a plastic. I buy, there's a few different sizes. I buy plastic, I buy it in these packets. I personally like using them because I think I don't want to spend the rest of my week after Shabbos probably in a crock pot. So I like to line it with a crock pot. Some people put a tiny bit of water underneath it. So I line it. Then I take meat, I put in meat. Now, you can use any kind of meat that you like. Ossobuco, you can put in gravy beef. This is short rib, you can put in top rib. So any of that you can put in as much as your family would eat. I usually put it in at home a kilo and a half if I have a lot of people over. Not this day and age, but hopefully in a few months time I'll put in 2 kilos. Then I'll put in, if it's just our family, I'll put in half a packet of barley, so barley, a half a packet of cholent mix, and a half a packet of chickpeas. Some week I'll put only barley, but this is the right mix. I like to use it that way. I'll add a bit of salt. I'll cut up a few potatoes to put it in. So you get the idea, just square some potatoes in. You don't even have to peel them, just give them a good wash, which I did before. And the secret ingredient is ketchup. Tomato sauce, not tomato sauce, just tomato ketchup. So I'll put that in, give it a good squeeze, like a few squeezes. And that's really it. Mendy, when he does the big cholent for sure, puts in curry. That's his secret ingredient. So salt and ketchup, and that's it. Done.
First, I would like to wish a very big and hearty mazel tov to Moshe and Chana Lobenstein on the birth of a baby boy this past Tuesday afternoon. Thank God mother and baby are well, and we wish them abundance of joy and nachas from him, and may they raise their whole beautiful family with lots of health and happiness and success in the future. I'd also like to wish a hearty mazel tov to the 3 bar mitzvah boys of this past week, Jesse Felbel, Oren Berger, and Shia Groner. We wish them a very special week and a special bar mitzvah day, and may they grow to be committed and devoted members of the Jewish community, committed and devoted to the Jewish faith and heritage, committed and devoted to the observance of Torah and mitzvahs, and may they find much success in all their endeavors in their future life. For the yard sites of the upcoming week, I'd like to wish Pinchas Birnbaum long life for the yard side of his father, Daniel Israel for the yard side of his father, Les Schwartz for the yard side of his uncle, Pat Baker for the yahrzeit of her father, Alan Ween for the yahrzeit of his mother, and I'd also like to wish all the family of Ruth Lieblich. She didn't leave any children, but she has nieces and nephews and many friends at Chabad Glen Eira. Her yahrzeit is also next week, and may her memory be blessed. The upcoming birthdays for the week, I'd like to wish happy birthday to Dina Beleli, Nicole Bloom, Jacob Freidenberg, Jackie Goldenberg, Tara Goldman, Mark Gerblum, Joshua Kestenberg, Rosemary Korngold, Abby Levy, Jeffrey Menashe, Talia Menashe, Anthony Sion, Rodney Snyder. Wish you all a happy birthday. And also I'd like to advise that this Friday and Shabbat is Rosh Chodesh. So there's extra prayers we include in the Amidah of all the 3 prayers. We include the part for Rosh Chodesh, Ya'aleh V'Yavo, as indicated in the Siddur. We also add, after the morning Amidah, the morning silent prayer, the Hallel. You just skip the 2 paragraphs as indicated in the Siddur. And we also add a Musaf on Friday, and the Shabbat, there's a special Musaf, which is a combined Musaf of Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh. It can all be found in the Siddur. Wishing you a very, very happy Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leon Barmakov. I am Chatan Torah at Chabad Glen Eira Shul in Melbourne, Australia. I would like to share my thoughts on this week's double Torah portion of Tazria and Metzorah. One of the main themes of the Parsha is tzaras, or biblical leprosy, not to be confused with similar named skin condition. During the times of Exodus and until the destruction of the Holy Temple, people who were guilty of particular sins would become afflicted with a spiritual malady and very real physical manifestation. The most common reason for one to become infected was to be guilty of evil gossip, lashon hara. Only Cohen could pronounce someone to be contaminated, and once that happened, the person would become quarantined and isolated from society. This makes it highly relevant in present times when most of the world found itself in isolation, or worse, in complete lockdown due to COVID-19 pandemic. People, families, communities, states, and even countries became isolated. Sages are teaching us that there are minimum 3 parties that are affected by slander. One who is gossiping, one who is listening, and one who is being spoken of. In contemporary world, we are constantly influenced by lashon hara. We are bombarded by fake news, conspiracy theories, and gossip magazines. Perhaps current isolation is a chance for all of us to meditate about the real meaning of our lives. Do tshuva, purify and cleanse first ourselves and then the world to make it ready for the coming of the Mashiach. In conclusion, I would like to add a message of hope for everyone out there who perhaps, like me, occasionally feeling uneasy and even anxious looking at horrible COVID-19 statistics. While davening on my own during the first day of Pesach, I made an interesting discovery. On this day, during the Amidah, we switch from praying for wind and rain and begin during the Musaf asking Hashem for dew to descend. It made me intimately aware that seasons will change. Warm and bright summer will come at the end of long, dark and cold winter. The plague will pass and life will prevail. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leon, for that wonderful presentation. I would just like to take it a bit further. The tzaras, the skin disease or the discoloration of the skin that's mentioned extensively in this parsha, as Leon said, wasn't a medical condition. It was a physical manifestation of a spiritual malady, which was a direct consequence of lashon hara, gossip, and speaking derogatory about others. The famous example given in the Torah is when Miriam spoke lashon hara on her brother Moshe, and she was struck with tzaras, with the discoloration of her skin, and she had to be isolated for a week outside of the camp. Lashon hara, gossip, speaking derogatory about others, is one of the gravest sins of all. The Talmud says that the 3 cardinal sins, idolatry, adultery, and murder, are the most grave sins. However, lashon hara is equal to all 3 together. Lashon hara has destroyed families, communities, and many parts of society. Lashon hara doesn't mean it's not the truth. Lashon hara means even if it is the truth. If it's not the truth, it's even worse. It's a lower grade of lashon hara called motzi shemra, which is actually hinted in the name of the second parsha, Metzorah, motzi shemra, creating a bad name about someone that's not even true. But both are forbidden. But the question is, we all know that it's so hard to resist Lashon Hara. It's so common. It's rampant everywhere. What's the psychology? What is so attractive about Lashon Hara, and how do we overcome it? I'd like to share with you one of the explanations of one of the great commentators of the Torah and of the Halacha, the Baal HaTurim Yaakov ben Osher, who lived in the early 14th century. And he says that there's three terms in this week's Parsha that are used for the discoloration of the skin disease. And these three terms symbolize and hint the psychology of why people speak Lashon Hara and therefore get this skin disease. The first term used in this week's Parsha is called Sa'et. Now, Sa'et, every Hebrew word has multiple meanings. Sa'et also has a meaning to uplift. A lot of people speak Lashon Hara because they don't feel good about themselves. They feel a void. So when they put down others, in some way, it makes them feel a bit more just, a bit more righteous. They uplift themselves. You know, there's a story about two brothers, one older one and one younger one. The older one was shorter than the younger one. He didn't like it. So one time when they were playing outside, the older brother pushed down the other brother into a ditch, and he said, "Aha, who's taller now?" It just so happened that their father, who happened to be Reb Shmuel of Lubavitch, the fourth Chabad Rebbe, saw this, and he said to the older brother, "Bring a chair." And he brought the chair, and he said, "Stand up on it." And he said, "Now, who's taller now?" So the older brother said, "I'm taller." So that his father told him, "You don't need to put down others to be taller. Just uplift yourself." The next term used is sapachat. Sapachat also has the Hebrew meaning of attachment. A lot of times people speak Lashon Hara just to attach to others or get to others attached to them. It's just to be part of the social clique, you know? You want people to listen to you, you know, you're amongst a crowd, amongst a group, and you want to get some attention, you want to attach yourselves to them, and they attach to you, and you say some juicy Lashon Hara, and everyone says, "Whoa, really?" Oh, and you feel all good that you said something that's exciting for them, right? Part of just wanting to becoming, you want to attract people to you, and you want to feel good that you're part of the social clique. You want to be attached. Then the third term used is baheret. Baheret also means clarity. This is talking about a person who's very sure of themselves. They know everything. They're arrogant. And therefore, they don't seek to really find out what the truth is, if whatever they heard about somebody is true. And even if they know it's true, they don't give a hoot about judging anybody, because who's the other person anyway? You know, they're so arrogant, they're so haughty that the other person has no value anyway, so who cares about talking about them? So how do we overcome Lashon Hara? So the way we overcome Lashon Hara is if we have a sense of wholesomeness within ourselves, inner content. A person who is wholesome and has inner content doesn't mean they don't disagree with others. It doesn't mean that they never feel hurt or pain from others. It doesn't mean they're not wronged by others. And it doesn't mean that they're naive or out for lunch. It just means that they feel good about themselves. They have a certain inner security, not arrogance, but security and confidence. And they truly believe in their own value based on the fact that they know that the fact that they were created by a supreme being means that they matter and that they have a mission and purpose in the world. Their life is full of purpose and meaning. And therefore they value themselves and their purpose and meaning. And therefore they know that Lashon Hara doesn't solve anything, doesn't contribute to their purpose and meaning in life. It actually stains their soul. It brings discoloration to their soul. And they value their soul, and they don't want to taint their soul. All they're interested in is bringing goodness and kindness and joy and happiness and spirituality and purpose and meaning to themselves and to others. And even though it sounds all nice and dandy, we are all capable of having that feeling, maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time. And when you have that feeling, you won't have a need to speak Lashon Hara, and actually you'll be in some way repulsed from Lashon Hara. This is such a timely message for our time. As Leon said, we're all in isolation. That's what the Saras person had to do in times of the temple. When they got this skin disease, they had to be isolated outside of the camp, outside of the city. And the reason is because their Lashon Hara separated spouses, families, communities. So therefore Hashem, God says, you should be separated as a consequence of what you caused. So maybe, I don't want to sound negative, but maybe Hashem is telling all of us a lesson. We're being separated to some extent. Maybe Hashem is telling us, stop speaking Lashon Hara. Imbue your lives with positivity and meaning and purpose, and we have all the tools for it. We're given the tools with Torah, so much Torah, so many mitzvahs, so many great role models in our history that we can learn from. So let us all take on this message that Hashem is telling us, and to spread only positivity and holiness and spirituality to all around us. And this was definitely the best way to usher in the era where there will be no more Lashon Hara. There will be no jealousy. Everyone will be in peace and harmony with each other, and everyone will be purely focused on their mission. Have a great and wonderful Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh.